Board on this computer. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So with that being said, guys, again, what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to give you guys a step-by-step of what we did with one of our clients. So his name's Craig. He is an absolute savage. Dude is crushing it. He is absolutely amazing as a client, super adherent. And one of the things that, I always want to share with you guys, right? If you guys want to see some amazing damn results, I want you to pay attention at the way this guy executed on a day-by-day basis, everything he did, because his results do not surprise me. The amount of weight he lost and the progress he has had with the short amount of time that we've been working together has been absolutely tremendous. And again, it's just because the guy executes. He knows what he has to do on a daily basis. He doesn't put an excuse. He doesn't, say he can't do this because of this. He just gets it done, right? And I think ultimately that's what allows us to reach whatever goal we're trying to reach. We all have excuses. We're all busy. We all have certain shit we have to do within the day, but you're the only one that's really stopping yourself from moving forward, because again, you can push through this stuff and you can find a way to do it if it's truly important to you, right? But enough rambling about that. I'm going to go ahead and dive into it. Let me see here if I can just do screen one. I have two screens, so sometimes it kind of might throw me off, but with that being said, we're going to dive over here. So on your right-hand side, what you can see is a full breakdown of everything I did when it came down to, his weeks, the adjustments we made and whatnot. I'm going to show you guys the progress pictures. I'm going to show you guys the weights. I'm going to show you guys everything that way you guys understand what we were doing, why we were doing it. And then you can use this information to go apply it for your own cut, right? So I want to dive into the pictures really quickly because they are absolutely amazing, right? So this was Craig when he first started with us. March 8th was the first week of his cut. So let me see if I can find this. It's going to be this right here. So this was the start of his cut right here. And this right here is the end. So you can tell that he lost a significant amount of body fat. When I look at his physique right now, it's just very flat, right? So after you diet for a very long time, you get very flat. There's not a lot of glycogen in the muscles, and you just kind of look dried out like this. But we're reversing him now, which means he is going to be looking way better in the next few weeks. I don't know why this does this to me. He's going to be looking way better in the next few weeks because more food in there is just going to help get those glycogen storages up, which is going to look really, really solid. But again, give you guys a side by side of what he was looking like, right? So that's where he started, and this is where he's at now. So, dude, just amazing body composition as a whole. His graphs are amazing. One big thing that I want you guys to take away from this is notice how it goes up and down, right? So it wasn't a consistent trend all the way down. There's peaks and valleys, right? So he has a very high right here, very low, and then goes back up, and then just up and down, peak, goes down, peak, goes down, peak, goes down, peak, goes down, right? So weight is just, it's a metric, right? And it's going to go up and down, but you always want to pay attention to it. And as long as it's going downwards, we're in a really good place, right? So with that being said, where was Craig before he started? What were the things that we needed to work on? And, how did everything go, right? So, when Craig came in, dude, he was already really good, right? So he was eating a significant amount of food. Most times when people come in, they're not eating a lot of food. He was already eating 3,900 calories, and there wasn't a need to bring his calories up. All we had to do was adjust, right? So calories was a pretty good place. Protein was a little up and down. So we just kind of made sure everything was kind of in place and everything was consistent. His fats were significantly high. So he had 180 there, 140, 150, 154, and then 122. So from there, what we did is we actually dropped his fat significantly, right? So what I did here is to distribute his macros a little bit differently, right? So he went from eating 3,900 calories to still eating 3,900 calories. His protein was at 235. Carbs shot up significantly up to 565. And then we brought his fats down to 78 grams, right? So when I talk about macro distribution, I think a lot of times people don't think it matters. When it comes down to fat loss, most of it doesn't matter because you have to be in a calorie deficit. But however, If you utilize carbs instead of fats, you're going to be able to perform a little bit better, and you're also going to be able to recover a little bit better. So we always like utilizing carbs a little bit more, just because you do gain more out of them. When you're looking at fats, if you're getting an adequate amount for, vitamin metabolism, for hormone health, and just to make sure that you're eating food that tastes good, you're good, right? Having it at, 100, 120, 130, really no need for that. Unless, you're someone that, has trouble with carbohydrates, right? But for him, no trouble, right? So we'd rather have more carbohydrates than fats, brought that down. And with that alone, he dropped 5 pounds, right? Now we're stepping into the cut. What do we do? How do we start, right? So again, we built consistency, which for him didn't take him very long, right? It took him 2 weeks. And after that, everything was pretty dead on: fats, carbs, protein, all of it, right? He proved to me he had adherence when it came down to his training, when it came down to his nutrition. He did his steps, his sleep was good, stress was low. Everything was so dialed in that I was like, hey, dude, look, we're ready to go. You give me the go ahead. I'm going to put you in this cut. And he gave me that go ahead. So we started his cut, right? Again, his calories were at 3,900. What we did here, the first initial drop, I always like doing a little bit more, right? So when we do an initial drop, we want to be a little bit more aggressive. And the reason we can do that is because it's the beginning, right? You're not going to feel any diet fatigue. You're not going to be hungry. You're not going to feel any of this stuff. We can be a little bit more aggressive with it. And I'd rather see pretty quick results from the get-go, because that gets buy-in from the client. That'll get buy-in from yourself. If you see yourself drop a few pounds in the beginning, and then you see week 2, week 3, you're still dropping pounds consistently, you feel better, right? It sucks when you start a cut, you're a month and a half in, and you're like, damn, I still fucking weigh the same. I still look the same, right? So being able to see results very quickly helps with adherence significantly. So I always like being a little bit more aggressive off the rip, right? I don't do a lot of adjustments all at one time. Sometimes I'll add cardio and drop calories a little bit more. But it depends, right? It really depends on the individual and what we want to do. For him, I knew just one initial drop was going to do it. So we dropped down pretty much 300 calories, right? He went down to 3606. Protein came down to 235. Carbs, we brought off, I believe, 65 grams and then 8 grams of fat, right? So with that alone, that was the 300 calories. Notice how protein wasn't touched. Protein is going to help rebuild muscle. It's going to help repair tissue. It's going to help you stay satiated. So we want to keep protein as high as possible, right? So protein throughout this whole, process stayed the same. If we wanted to, for satiety reasons, we could have brought protein up a little bit more. There would have been no issue there, right? So week 2, no changes made. He's down to 287.2, down 2.2 pounds, right? Week 3, 285. Now he's down 5 pounds. Week 4, no changes again, 283.2. Now he's down 7 pounds, right? Week 5, no changes made again, which is that initial calorie drop. He's down to 282. So he's down 8 pounds. Nothing has changed, right? Calories all stayed the same. And I think I want to highlight this, or I don't think I honestly want to highlight this, because I think a lot of times people want to rush to the results. They want to just go all in, go super hard. And the thing is, like, when you see something working, don't change it, right? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So for us, we saw week 2, week 3, everything's moving, right? I was like, week 4, normally I make a first adjustment. I'm like, hey, dude, shit's moving pretty fucking well. How about we just keep it here? Cool. It kept going, right? And even then, once we hit the week 6, I made the adjustment just because I wanted things to be a little bit quicker. And I know that, we only have a certain amount of time frame, right? I thought 12 weeks is all we had. I was like, well, we're halfway in. We can be a little bit more aggressive. Let's throw some cardio in there, right? We implemented cardio that week, 3 times a week, 20 minutes on the treadmill, incline 7, speed 3, right? He hit 280 that week, right? So now he's down 10 pounds. So that right there in itself, super, super dope. But big thing I want you to notice with the cardio, it's not just, hey, go do 20 minutes on the treadmill, right? There's a reason for that. When we are in a calorie deficit, what we will always want to do is we want to make sure we're tracking metrics. This is why we're paying attention to weight. This is why we're paying attention to macros. And this is why we're paying attention to cardio and how many calories we're burning as well as steps, right? So if I tell him, hey, go do 20 minutes, there's going to be a day where he's tired. He's like, I do not want to fucking do this shit. So he's going to go slower, right? Say normally he burns 300 calories on the treadmill. He burned 100 calories that day because he's like, you know what? I'm going to go a very, very slow pace. I'm going to take my time. All I got to do is 20 minutes, right? But if I tell him 20 minutes, incline 7, speed 3, it's going to be consistent every single time. He knows what he has to hit, which means that metric is already accounted for. We know how many calories he's going to burn through doing the treadmill, right? It's consistent. If you can control things and you can be more consistent with it, you're able to see what's working and what's not working, right? Because if I would have thrown 20 minutes of cardio and then it was just up and down, nothing was working, and he's not burning as much calories one day as the other day, I'm like, well, that didn't work. Hey, go do more cardio, right? So we always want to make sure that we test things. We want to make sure that they're working, and then we're good, right? Week 7, again, no changes were made. His weight went up a little bit to 282.4, which is normal. Things happen. Again, there's peaks and valleys, right? And this was a week where he had kind of a hard time. He's like, dude, my weight went up. Like, what the fuck? Why? Right? And for us, it was just a big reminder to him, like, hey, dude, there's peaks and valleys within this. You're not going to drop weight every single week, right? There's a few variables that will always kind of mess with your weight, right? Whether it's water, not going to the restroom, inflammation, stress, whatever it might be, there might be a reason why you're weighing a little bit more. All you have to do is continue what you're doing, and eventually the weight's going to come back down and you're going to continue seeing the progress that you're seeing before, right? Big thing here, don't make changes if you see something like this, right? If you see a consistent weight go up, it's time to make changes. If you see your weight go up one week to another, don't make changes. And I think this is where a lot of people rush it as well. They're like, my weight went up. I need to slash calories right now. Oh, I need to do more cardio. No, you don't. Your weight just went up because they went up from something that happened the day before or the day before that, right? Let's give your body some time to just kind of come back to homeostasis, let the weight come off, and you're going to be good. So you give yourself more time to see if it's working versus just, hey, you know what? Not working. I'm going to change things, right? So take your time with this stuff, right? And again, week 8, the week after that, it dropped 3 pounds. We didn't change anything, right? This proves my point right here. So again, everything's good, right? Everything's moving. Week 9, we dropped down a little bit more, 260 calories. We dropped a little bit more to 100. We're just so fucking hard right now. We dropped 160 calories. The total was 3450 when it came down total calories. Protein stayed the same, 235. Dropped a little bit more here on carbs. So we're down another 65 grams of, no, okay, 30 grams of carbs. Sorry, I was getting confused on there. So we're down 30 grams of carbs, and then fats, we dropped 4, right? So everything that came off calories was carbs and fats, protein we're keeping the same. After that, he dropped down to 277.8. After this, with his check, and he was letting me know I'm tired, my strength is kind of decreasing. I'm not really hitting a lot of numbers. So we did a deload week that day or that week. So after we talked, I knew there was a little bit of stress already kind of compiling. We need to back off a little bit. We need to give your body a little bit of a rest. Beautiful. Deload, right? So with the deload week, we came in, we're training at 70% intensity. That was it, right? Nothing else changed. After that, we decided that we were going to give him a little bit of a diet break. And this right here was a strategic diet break, right? So with diet breaks, you always want to be strategic, right? You don't want to just implement them because you're like, I'm hungry, I'm going to implement a diet break, right? Big thing that I always look for whenever I'm doing a diet break for an individual is going to be a special event, very high diet fatigue, or food focus, right? So if someone is getting very food focused, all they're thinking about is food, let's throw in a diet break. Let's give you some more food, right? If they have a special event coming up, like for him, it was him and his girl's anniversary. I was like, cool, dude, have a diet break. We're bringing your calories up to 3,700, and then you can enjoy yourself, have a good time. Don't even sweat it, right? You have more than enough calories to go out, have an amazing day, and then kind of move on from it, right? That's what he did. So that week was week 11, right? So diet break, we brought food up, and then he went down to 275.8, right? With diet breaks, what they really help with here, and I hear a lot of people talk about diet breaks helping metabolism, speeding up the metabolism, but they don't actually work that way. What ends up happening here is you relieve some of that stress you're having from your diet, and then you become more adherent because you're no longer just really thinking about food, you're not feeling tired. And then it also helps you perform. If you give yourself 4 days of coming back onto a maintenance, you're going to be able to have more food in your system, which means you're going to feel better and you're going to be able to perform a lot better for a few days, right? it's going to come back down, right? You're not going to have that food forever. You're not going to have that energy forever. So what we want to do here is we really just want to bring adherence up. We want to give you a break from the diet in itself. And that's really all we're doing here, right? So diet breaks are amazing. I freaking love them. I think they're a little bit better than refeeds just because, again, refeeds, it's just the day. With diet breaks, they can be anywhere from four to 2 weeks max. Anything above that, you're just kind of stepping into maintenance. So anywhere from 4 days to 2 weeks when it comes down to the diet breaks, right? And again, his weight came down. So that's always a really good sign. Now we're moving to week 12. Hey, this was where I told him, like, hey, man, like, and this is something I do a lot with clients. So I kind of give them the autonomy to be like, hey, you know what? I want to end it here at the 12 weeks, or hey, I want to push really fucking hard and I want to keep going, right? So obviously we're coming into week 12. We have 5 weeks left. What do we want to do? You want to continue? You want to push really freaking hard and get the most out of this so we can reverse and get you in a good place? Or do you want to call it here? He's a grinder. He's like, fuck it, I want more, right? So week 12, I was like, all right, cool, dude. We're dropping calories more, right? We dropped down to 3202, 235 grams of protein. Carbs are down to 408, fats are down to 70, and he dropped down to 275 that week, right? So thing here, right? This was a little bit more aggressive, right? You can see a big drop from it. So we gave him the diet break and then we dropped calories significantly. The big reason why, we're more aggressive towards the end of it is because we're at the tail end. We know that we're done in 4 weeks, right? Can you push really hard for 4 weeks? Yes, I can. Beautiful. You got a month where you're just grinding your ass off and then you come out of it, right? So you have that mental picture in your mind already of coming out of it, right? You're getting out of your diet. You got amazing body composition. You fucking crushed it. Now we just reverse and get better, right? So when you have 4 weeks left, it's a lot easier to push, right? A lot of people don't take advantage of this. Like, dude, be aggressive towards the end of it. You got 4 weeks, get the most out of it, get the hell out of it, right? That's what's beautiful about a cut. Like, you can be more aggressive towards the tail end because there's some suffering that comes with it, but you learn to embrace the suck for some amazing results, right? So with that, week 12, drop food. Week 13, I brought cardio up. I was like, cool, we got 4 weeks left. Let's squeeze this shit for all it's gone. So cardio went up to 30 minutes, incline 7, speed 3.2, and he was down to 270, right? So now he's down 20 pounds from where he started. Week 14, 15, 16, no changes. Weight kept going down, right? So week 14, 266.4. Week 15, 265.6. And then weight went up a little bit more on week 16, which was the end of it, right? But he did hit a lower one on this one. I think he went down to 264, right? So he hit 31 pounds down from when he started the program down to the end of this cut, about 24 pounds from the cut down to this, right? So a big thing here that I always want you guys to understand when it comes down to cuts is like, it really depends on the individual on what you're going to adjust, right? Some people, I'd rather give them more cardio. Other people, I'd rather drop their food, right? There's some people that don't struggle with hunger. No matter how much you drop their food, they're like, I'm good, not hungry, cool, right? And we're able to drop more food for those people. There's people that are going to suffer with less food. I'd rather have them do more cardio. I'd rather have them bring that calorie expenditure up, right? So hopefully this right here gives you guys a really good breakdown of how to kind of tackle yours, right? Big thing that you always want to pay attention when it comes down to dropping calories is going to be how everything's moving, right? Pay attention to the weight, right? Pay attention to the weight, pay attention to hunger, pay attention to energy and strength. So if you notice that, you're dropping calories and then you start seeing a ton of fatigue, right? There's a bunch of energy levels came down, strength is down, stress is just way higher. Might mean you're just dropping them too rapidly, right? So you want to take your time dropping this stuff. That way the diet doesn't suck, because we could have gone down from 39 to 30, 32 right off the rip. I could have done that. I could have dropped the 600 calories or the 700 calories right off the rip, right? He would have felt the diet fatigue kick in so much faster. It wouldn't have been smooth, and with him, it was smooth. Like, he not once did he struggle with this. He was like, hey, kind of sucks, but it's not as bad as I thought, right? And the thing here that made this a success, and I think a lot of people do not do this, they don't take time eating more food and really building their metabolism. There's one thing that's going to make your cutting phase more successful, and that's actually taking the time to bring your calories up. When you have more food, you have more energy, you can recover better, you can perform better, meaning you're going to keep more muscle, and the diet's going to suck less, right? Nobody likes starving. Nobody likes eating a minimum amount of food. If you want to be more adherent, more successful with what you're doing, it's going to come down to bringing your calories up, and it's going to come down to you being super, super consistent with what you're doing. So that being said, guys, hopefully you guys learn from this. Again, I'm excited to bring more of these to you guys so you guys can understand how we work and how we do things for everybody. If you have any more questions or you need anything from us, feel free to reach out. We're always more than happy to answer any questions you guys got. Other than that, I hope you guys have an amazing Thursday. Keep killing the week.